Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated economist here. Figured I'd give you guys a break from talking about it seems to be the only thing in the news right now, and I give you guys a plywood and lumber update instead. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, thank you very much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And to kind of bring you up to speed, I work at a retail lumber yard, so I have my hands on the pulse of the industry when it comes to building materials. And a few months ago, we had lumber prices really hit bottom. They went from 650 per thousand down to around 300 per thousand in the futures market. And when that took place, lumber mills all over the place started shutting down and curtailing development, trying to tighten up the inventory to get the prices to go back up. Now, there was a lot of reasonings for this. Canada had a big bug infestation along with forest fires and all kinds of stuff that was taking place there. And so their lumber management, their forestry management had kind of gone into salvage mode where they were cutting down a bunch of trees and milling them up so that at least they wouldn't stand there and rot. And the trade war kicked in right about that time as well. So they kind of got hit with this double whammy where the salvage mode had basically ended and the trade war had really kicked in. So we were sending, like here in the United States, we were sending a lot of material over to China and in turn buying a lot of material from Canada. So when that whole thing started taking place, the prices of lumber really fell out, as far as the lumber futures went. And one of the other effects of it was the plywood industry. So these are like two main base components, 2x4s and half-inch CDX. And I track these two materials as far as an indicator of where we are in the building industry, at least as far as pricing of the building and, price of building a home, a new home, or framing a new home. Because the 2x4s, they're like the skeleton, and then the half-inch CDX, that's like the skin that goes on. It's referred to as sheathing. And OSB, which stands for Oriented Strand Board, it's a very similar type of product to the half-inch CDX. Now, the same thing kind of happened with the half-inch CDX. It went from $26.50 a sheet on the retail end, and it fell down to around $15.50 per sheet. It was one of the biggest moves I had ever seen, and I hadn't seen $15.50 a sheet CDX in a very long time, since I was a kid. And when that happened, the mills that produced this stuff started curtailing development. They were saying, we can't make money at this $15.50 per sheet on CDX, or they were obviously charging a little less than that for the retailer to make $15.50. So they started holding back production until the inventory tightened up and the prices went back up. Well, sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And now we got half-inch CDX moving from $15.50 a sheet up to around $19 and some change. The last time we placed an order for the lumberyard, they were saying, hey, you better, load up and get ready, because the next time you're going to get your truckload, we don't know when, and we don't know how far out we're going to be. So the lumber and plywood industry has tightened up, and the prices are really starting to move up. When it went from $15.50 to $19 and some change, it happened very quickly. It happened over the course of like 2 weeks. It was one of the fastest moves I had ever seen take place inside of plywood goes. And like I said, the next time we get our next shipment in is like 30 to 40 days out. So the inventory has really tightened up, and the prices are really starting to increase. So if you're out there looking to build or, getting into new construction, don't hesitate. You might want to start moving on your purchases and get your quotes right away, because the prices are really starting to move. I got a letter here that says order files range from March 23rd to the middle of April, depending on the mill and the item that you're getting from them. So it is really starting to get into a situation here where the building materials are tightening up, and we're going to see a major move again. I can only assume that the half-inch CDX is probably going to move up again next week, and I don't know if it's going to be $1, $2, 50 cents, but it's certainly on the move again. Anyway, thought I'd give you guys that bit of an update. Uneducated economist. You guys let me know.